Welcome, Ara. This has been an audacious start, even before we started. Hey, that is just like, for me getting the time wrong, and for you accommodating. Um,
Oh,
wonderful.
goodness me. But we are here.
We're
But we are
here.
here.
We're here, which is wonderful. So, is we haven't really had the time for us to have any conversation beforehand. It's going to be even more audacious because I
Even
always
better.
say
Yes.
these
Yes.
conversations are totally unscripted. So
Yep.
I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself, Ara, with something audacious about yourself.
Oh, okay. Uh, I am the son of Indra, my mom in Malaysia, who brought me up to say, don't shoot for the moon, shoot for the stars. Because if you shoot for the moon and you miss, you're still on land. Whereas if you shoot for the stars and you miss, you might actually hit the moon. There you go.
Fabulous. I love it. I love it. And the purpose of these conversations are to really, for me, to redefine audacity under those three pillars: courage,
Mm.
care, non-conformity, and have it with people who really inspire me, and you're definitely one of them. I mean, I didn't even know
Thank
you've
you.
got so many to your name. I'm so excited about that intersection of sports. You as a physician, you as a performance strategist. So we can go any of those. But where does your heart goes right now, Ara? Is it courage, care, or non-conformity?
Non-conformity.
Mm.
Mm.
Tell me more.
I think we live at a time where, I'm actually working on a book, and I talk about this in the book, mass hypnosis.
Mm.
It's Alina. It's people are just not questioning anything because the information is coming so fast. It's made to sound novel. It's made to sound sexy, and it's extremely compelling. It's all assigned to sell the information, to convince somebody to either sign up, log in, like, engage in some way, that we are no longer sitting and saying, wait a minute, is this information actually applicable to me? Where does this information come from? And then when you start to do that, it's scary because you've gone so far down this line. There's so many assumptions that we have
Mm.
at this point in our lives that you're like, where do I even start with this? So non-conformity has been my brand for the longest time. Not 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 to say non-conformity as in like breaking the rules for the sake
Mhm.
of breaking the rules, right? I question the rules. And if it makes sense and there's a legitimate reason and there's a greater good, even if I don't like it, I'll do it. But many times, I'll give you an example. At my level, I work with world-class athletes, right? When I started drawing their blood work, and whenever you seen it, when you go get your bloods done, the doctor will glance in and go, everything looks normal, Alina, right? And it's because there's a range. So let's say your blood comes back at 6 and the range is 2 to 10. They go, that's great, right?
Mhm.
What if that range didn't apply to you,
Mhm.
right? That's me being non-conformity. Like, I'm not going to say, well, why does that range apply to you? Does it apply to you at certain time of your month, certain time of the year, certain part of your life, when you're pregnant, not pregnant? Like, where does that range come from,
Mhm.
right? So I started doing this with my athletes. When I looked at them and I couldn't explain certain difficulties they were having or performance challenges they were having, I went back and I was like, I thought the bloods were normal, but what happened is the range was wrong. And these people
Mm.
needed a different range. And then I started looking at stuff, and then I started questioning everything. And that's been 25 years of being highly annoying.
No, but actually, it is interesting because when you are questioning, for me, I'm almost my book is the spectrum, is the audacity
Mm,
spectrum. Everything is
mm.
is on a spectrum, and you're
Yes,
right. The range could be completely different. My range to your range, and
yes,
someone else's range. Is that individuality? Is that uniqueness that we all have?
yes, yes.
Uh, and but that's deep work, Ara, because you said most people will apply a certain rule, which doesn't read to a big range of people, and
Hmm.
that shouldn't be the case. You then have to go. deeply into how does it work with this particular individual. So
Yeah.
how do you do that actually?
How do I do, like,
You
work
know,
out the range, or like?
yeah, I suppose it's, in that sort of non-conformity, because
Hmm.
you are one of the things that I know about you is it's systemic thinking, which is, not,
Yes.
it is
Yeah.
questioning the status quo.
Yes. So,
Um,
I come from the principle that no two humans are the same. We know that. But I come from the bigger principle that
mhm,
the same human doesn't show up exactly the same every single day. Right?
mhm,
You and I mean, you are not the same person this time yesterday morning, yesterday afternoon. Like, no chance. There's slight variations because we humans react to the external environment. And when we talk about circadian rhythm, that is just one type of rhythm. It is part of a biorhythm. So
mhm,
the menstrual cycle is a biorhythm, the lunar cycle is a biorhythm, the ebb and flow of the ocean is a biorhythm, the four seasons is a biorhythm, the leap year is a biorhythm, right? The eclipse. So we change every single day, and yet we are expected to, at high level, produce as if everything is exactly the same, like a machine, right? Like your watch will produce the time exactly the same every single day because it's a mechanism. We are expected to produce like a mechanism,
mm,
but we are biological systems. So when I took that into account and saw the world from that lens, I started questioning like everything. You go to a supplement, even a really good make. Okay, you look at the fish oil, and it will say on it 2 capsules.
mhm,
But everybody should be on 2 capsules,
mhm,
right? Calories, protein. Like, there's these numbers that everybody throws, and I'm like, is that true for every single person, like individually? You know? And so it opens up a great. So my work has been like looking at the problem this person has, identifying what challenges they have, and try to solve that problem uniquely for that individual by breaking down all the assumptions we have. you know just saying like, okay, you know what, this person should weight train, should they? This person should do cardio, should they? Like, I give you an example. Most people are sold on the 10,000 steps a day. Did
mhm,
you know that came about just before the Tokyo Olympics, when a company that was making a foot count, a pedometer counter, needed a number? They came up with a device, and they were like, we need to give them a, what's that? So 10,000 was a number they picked out from the air. Fortunately, it's a number that gives you typically about 2 miles, 2 to 3 miles, right? But if that number was 10-mile rule, or 100,000 steps, we would be in a very different circumstance. So that's where I come from.
Yeah, no, I love that. I never knew that. I never knew the sort of
Yeah.
10,000 steps. And it's the same. I think there's an arbitrary rule like the 10,000
Hours.
hours. That's
Yeah.
right. And, and again, it's the same. You have to practice 10,000 to become a sort of high performer. But someone makes up the rule, as you said. I come, as you know, I was raised in a communist area. So I conformed very much to the rules. And yet,
Yeah, you would
uh,
be in trouble if you didn't.
totally,
Yeah.
but I am also a rule breaker to an extent. That's where the non-conformity comes. And as you work with high performers in sports, I work with high performers in the financial services.
Yeah, but
And it's
yeah.
interesting, one of the themes that's coming up this year for my clients is they are expected to deliver certainty in a
Mm.
volatile market.
Mm.
I mean, it's just incredible. So,
Yeah.
and the stress in the system
Yeah.
is probably at one of the highest levels I've seen. I mean, I was in that market in '07 and '08, and I was a trader. So, there was stress then, but it feels to me it's a different kind of stress. So I'm curious in your work, as for
Mm.
me, I work very much with still with the mind, with the brain in
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah.
where you are much more holistic. You've got the body, you work, which is probably the most important part. So
But they're
how, tell me.
connected. Well,
Hmm.
they're connected. So, no, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What's your question?
No, no, my question was, again, bringing your experience from your world
Hmm.
of sport, what would you advise these people with overly stress right now?
Okay, so a couple of things. Stress is a perception, right? So that's where
Hmm.
you work your magic and you say it to them, right? Okay. But stress, whether you lost 5 million pounds
Hmm.
overnight, whether you've been told you got cancer, whether your
Hmm.
dog died, whether you were in a near fatal car accident on the way to it's the brain just sees it as stress.
Hmm.
And Hans Selye in the 1950s, a Canadian professor, uh, marked down, like explained to us how the body responds to stress. And what his beautiful work, what he showed was it's a predictable response.
Hmm.
It's a predictable response. If you have this, your body is going to do this.
Hmm.
Okay. So I know regardless of the stress, the response is going to be the same. Your nervous system is going to act this way. The parasympathetic is going to get out of control compared to the sympathetic over the parasympathetic.
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
know you're going to release stress hormones more than recovery hormones. We know your digestive system is going to go down because at the time of stress. And again, the body's response to stress puts survival at the highest.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay? The moment it says, I need you to survive, it assumes there's not enough resources. It has to put the resources and prioritize the resources, right?
Hmm.
It prioritizes things that are going to keep you alive. So it's going to make
Hmm.
sure your heart works, your brain works, your eye works, your muscles work, because at a time of stress and you are going to be attacked, you need to escape.
Hmm.
So those things will get high order of priority, right? Usually that time there's not much food. So digestion gets pushed down. And one of the most expensive biological processes in the body is to make digestive enzymes.
Hmm.
And so it'll say, you know what, I want to conserve energy. I'm not going to make a bunch of digestive enzymes. So these individuals, their digestion will go down. Okay. Same as reproduction. It says, we are going to, like, you might die. Let's not bring another person into this world. Let's not have another mouth to feed. So you will see, why do women under severe stress stop having menstrual cycles?
Hmm.
You see that all the time. Well, men have the same. It's called, well, women have menopause, men have andropause, but they can have prematurely. The testosterone will go down, DHA will go down, and especially higher executives. People talk about testosterone.
Hmm.
DHEA, which is a hormone before testosterone, is more potent for the brain. Okay, that starts dwindling down, and so now you live in an environment where you can't fully absorb your nutrients, which you need to make neurotransmitters for the brain. Okay, you then also are producing hormones that are going to dysregulate your frontal cortex, like you actually take that out. Okay, so your decision making processes go down. You have no testosterone, men or women. So that is drive, that is will, that is facing challenges, that goes down.
Hmm.
Okay, your sleep gets disturbed, and that's what's going on regardless of the stress. And so when I work with anybody of that level,
Hmm.
I go, okay, listen, I can't take the stress away. You have to answer to your board, right? Like when I want to work with NBC executives, to tell them to turn the phone off when they sleep is not, it's not a solution.
Hmm.
It's like asking Navy SEALs to sleep, like
Hmm.
get 8 hours sleep. It's not going to happen, right? So we have to work within the constraints we are facing. So in that person, what I can do is I can rebalance the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The easiest way to do that is like breath work, but there's so
Hmm.
many other ways: humming, music, listening to music, playing music, processing music. Right? There are devices you can wear to help you sleep. they're introducing digestive enzymes or breaking down their food, and when they consume food in a certain way, making sure they stay hydrated, supplementing accordingly for the type of hormones that are out of whack. So what I do know is the stress usually doesn't last for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
because either it goes away or you learn to process. Even when you lose a spouse or loved one, the bereavement process, as long as it's normal bereavement, you will bereave and you'll come out the other side, and it's a normal process, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just supporting that body during this stressful environment, and then when it's out, it'll adjust itself. That's what I do. That's
Yeah,
how
no,
it works.
absolutely, you're right. But it's yes, absolutely. And I hear you. All right. And it just what's coming up for me, it's going back to basics. As you said, this there's a certain environment, whether it's Navy SEALs, whether it's a doctor in ER, where there's a person who's
Yeah,
investing millions and billions, we will all
yeah,
have our own level of stress. And I love Hans Selye work, by the way. I remember one of his quotes was, stress is the spice of life. As long
yeah,
as it's in,
yes, yeah,
because it's in certain, talk about your range, in a certain range, stress is good for us. When it goes
yes.
off the scale,
Yeah.
then it becomes not so good, gets us to
The,
burnout. But it's going
every
back to
single
basics.
every single individual that is facing stress that you work with right now got to that position because of the stress they faced that made them better, right? So it's taking the mindset of, like, there's a famous saying by Billie Jean King in tennis: pressure is a privilege, right? It's
Mm.
reframing that and saying, okay, you know what, this is stressful, but this is why I'm chosen to do this, right? So yeah, it's using stress. Now, having said all of that, there will be a time when it's too much,
Of course.
right? That's where people like me have a job.
Yeah, yeah, and absolutely, it's the same as
Yeah,
it's that spectrum for me. It's like nothing. If it's too little or too much, then we just have to recalibrate and
yeah,
and adjust. But going back to sleep, as you said, as much as you can, even if you're Navy SEAL or the breath. I mean, I love to, and I know part of me knowing you will probably tell me, yes, Alina, there is no one way of breathing because But again, what would be what would be if you had to choose a fast way, if I can call it that way, of breathing to calm your nervous system down? What would that be?
I'll give you the principle, and then you can design it yourself,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So box breathing, triangle breathing, all of those breathing to calm the system down. You have to work on exhale, breathing out, right?
Mm.
Because when we are under stress, we breathe in and we go. So we breathe in a lot, but we don't work on the breathing out. If you
Hmm.
want to slow down the heart rate, so tennis players who have to recover, they can run side to side, so the heart rate goes up, and then they have 20 seconds to bring it down to play the next point. They breathe out, so they go.
Mm.
So humming, like, as
Mm.
long as you can, to draw that out for as long as you can, will automatically reset all of this. So you add to that, you take that and you turn it into a triangle breath or a box breathing, right? If you look at all of those, the emphasis will be holding your breath or breathing out. So you're not breathing as often,
Yes.
right? Resilience, physical and psychological resilience, comes from breathing less. So, for instance, if you take a box breathing, so it's breathing in for 5, hold for 5, breathe out for 5. No, sorry, in for 5, hold for 5, out for 5, yeah, and then hold for 5, right?
Hold again. Yeah.
That's 20 seconds. If you do that for a minute, you've only taken 3 breaths. 3 breaths, that's all you've taken. You've slowed down your breathing so much. That is, so you can design it any way you want. The idea behind it is breathe less and emphasize on breathing out. That's how you reset the nervous system.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. It's Sale. And actually, for me, even before I knew these type of techniques, I always found it much more calming to just breathe out as long as I
Mm-hmm.
could.
Mm-hmm.
I just my body, my body almost knew, not almost, my
New,
body
yeah,
knew, my
yeah,
body keeps the score. It just knew that's what I needed to do.
yeah. So that's why you'll often hear people, like, shouting out, going, if you're stressed, they'll go, then breathe. Well, actually, that's not correct. It's breathe out, breathe out. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Breathe out. Yeah, that's great. And actually, I'm sort of curious
Hmm.
in that three pillars of non. I know you chose non-conformity, but what would be the most courageous thing to do when you are under that level of stress? In your view, Ara.
Is to admit trust.
Mm,
It takes incredible. I'm like welling up already. It takes unbelievable amount of courage to say, "Hey, can you help me? I don't know. I am so stressed. Like I got all these things to do. I can't walk out of it. I just need some help." That to me takes incredible courage, because the people who are put in positions to handle that stress, whether it be a mom, whether it be a business person, an athlete, they often have to wear a cape of being Superman, Superwoman, or Superman, and they
mm,
can't. The world looks to them to carry everything, and so
mm.
it's hard for them to say, "Can you help me?" And so that is the hardest part of courage, like for me, the courage to actually say that, because once you say that, everything else is easy. The mechanism, the strategy is easy. It's
Mm.
actually coming up and saying, "I need help too." Yeah.
So true. That is the most courageous. Actually, is also the expression of I need help to self, and then obviously to others. I mean, whew,
Yeah.
that is, that's one of the hardest skills to master. Never
Hmm.
mind learn and then master it. I'm still a student at that, but getting better.
We all are.
It
I
is.
think people who are, high achievers generally, we got there because we solved everyone else's problems,
Mm,
right? And you put your needs second, like, and you just say, "I'll get to it." I remember being in the ER and as a trainee in England, and I was a very good trainee, so they gave me a lot of extra stuff to do. This committee, that, this, that. And one day my boss comes up and he goes, "Hey, Ara, I need you to do this project for me." And I lost it. I was like, why do you ask me? There are 14 other trainees. Like, can you not ask one of the others? And he looked at me and he goes, "I'm going to give you a saying that's going to save you for the rest of your life." And I'm like, "Oh my God." And he goes, "If you want to get something done, ask the person with no time." And I was like, "What?" And he
mm.
goes, "You will get it done. I know you'll get it done because you'll find a way to get it done." Right? So the more successful you are, the more it's going to come. Right? Like that's like, if someone needs your help, like, trust me, you don't have time. That's when you'll get more coming your way. So part of it might be to learn to say no and prioritize and do all that stuff. But ultimately, I think we take on a lot and we don't ask for help. And the first step is to say, you know, like, "Can you help me with this? I need help with this."
Yeah, it's so funny. I mean, I heard that saying in a different way of if you want something, don't give it to the busiest person on the desk,
Yeah, yeah,
because they're probably the most efficient one. That's the reason why
yeah.
they
They're
are.
the most
Not for
productive.
the
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and not for the business for the sake of being busy, but actually, the sort of productive. And
Yeah,
yes, it's true. And my challenge, you and I know each other enough, it is to have this courage to say no, to put the
yeah,
sort of boundaries up. And that's a different skill altogether.
yeah.
Um, but it's interesting is the caring bit, because what you're talking about, the asking for help, is also this caring for self. And of course, when someone
Mhm.
asks us for help, it's inevitable. Most human beings will be feeling privileged that they've been asked for help, so they
Yeah,
will
yeah.
definitely jump.
Correct. Yeah.
And now I'm aware we've only got sort of 5 minutes, and I would love to hear about your mission, because I know you've got a mission, your latest mission anyway. So tell me more.
My mission, honestly, is to just spotlight the fact that we are walking around hypnotized, and I just want
Mm,
people to just question things a little bit more. That would be my bigger mission, and that'd be my big mission. And then, as part of that, I want us to move a lot more than what we're doing, because with the way the world is going with AI, robotics, agentic agents, like movement. We everyone's going to say like, oh, when these things happen, you're going to have more free time and you don't have to do the mundane work. Well, I think you need to take that time and move.
Mm-hmm.
We have gone so far, and movement is not just walking, it's dancing, it's turning upside down. I recently learned how to do a backflip at the age of 55,
Mm.
right? And a lot of that taught me that, oh my God, roll, learning to fall, learning to do things kids do naturally. When you go back and do it, it is, I speak for myself, it was the most liberating feeling. Like, forget flow state, it was beyond that. Like that 1 hour session would just fly. And I'd be like, no, I want to do some more. And then he'd be like, no, you're done. You know? So I think
Mm.
we as a group of people have to embrace the fact that we need to move, not just walk. Uh, Use your whole body the way it's supposed to. And if AI is going to give you the free time to do that, use it to do that. You know? Because I
Mm.
think if you learn from like when machines came, yes, they displaced jobs, but the theory was, oh, you'll have more time to do other stuff. And yet we are unhealthier, move
Mm.
less, because somebody else came and distracted us. So I just want people to just wake up from that.
It's so
You know.
interesting because it's a paradox. It's absolutely a paradox of life. I don't know about your clients because your clients move a lot in sports and athletes, but what I hear a lot is like, I don't own my diary. I have no time. That's the if you ask anybody in my
Mm-hmm.
environment, what do you want more is time. And I always use this, you mentioned the Hans Selye, but it's the this concept of we don't manage time, we manage
Mm.
energy. So
Energy,
as
correct, correct.
it's we all have the same 24 hours. Is how do
Yeah,
we then use our energy
yeah.
to move around? And
And
my
it's funny,
words,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah. No,
No,
no. Go
tell
ahead.
me.
Go ahead.
No, I was
I
going
was
to say
just going to say,
playfulness is, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes, playfulness and movement like that is where the energy turbine turns the turbine. That I cannot tell you. Do stuff like that. I come back. I'm so creative. I'm super chilled. I'm the best version of me for a while. Same when I run. Same when I play tennis. Like whenever I move,
Mm.
and I'm just speaking for myself. I see this all over.
Yeah.
Kids who move versus kids who don't move, completely different students. Kindergartens that have movement as a priority, have a very
Mhm.
different outcome than kids who are sitting in the square and just say, do this. So yeah.
Yeah, and dance, you've really inspired me now because it is,
Yeah.
especially, lots of move, but that's an easy one that everybody can do. Even if you're not a good
Anyone.
dancer, just be
It
silly.
doesn't matter. You just
Yeah,
move it. Yeah. That's
yeah,
right.
exactly. Exactly.
Right.
But you mentioned your book, so I'm curious, as I don't know anything about your book. So I just,
Oh, it's not out yet. It's not out yet. It's coming. It should be out end of this year. Uh, I'm not going to reveal it just yet, but
no?
there is a book that's coming out. There is a book that's coming out. I'll reveal the cover in about a month from now. Yeah, but it if you like the stuff I talked about, it kind of wakes a lot of people up and challenges people and teaches you how to even movement, right? Like
Mm.
movement with a little bit of risk puts you in a very different state when there's movement that's completely safe. So it's learning how to bring all that in, because that's how we were when we were hunter gatherers. I mean, that's how we were. There was always an element of like uncertainty as part of the movement, which made the experience different.
Oh, I love that. A little bit of uncertainty, because that's where we learn in that stretching zone. And we always
Correct.
use that phrase of, the antidote to, uncertainty is not certainty, is creativity.
It's
So it's
creativity.
just,
Yes, correct. Yeah, correct.
it's,
It forces you to create a solution. Yes.
yeah, it's about, and I actually listened very briefly. I listened to, the podcast of Steve Bartlett and Tony Robbins. And then that's why he actually said is if you want to lower your stress, stop managing and start creating. Because
Mm.
we manage stress, we manage people, we manage, it's like create your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fabulous. Well, I will ask you one last question before I let you go. Tell,
Okay.
in terms of in the spirit of audaciousness,
Yeah.
uh, what is, what's something What's the most audacious thing that you're looking forward to this year in
Oh,
2026?
okay, okay. The most audacious thing I'm looking forward to this year. Uh I'm looking forward for my book coming up and being
Hmm.
challenged by everybody else who feels threatened by it and say, like, no, this is not true, that's not true, and I'm very curious as how I'm going to react to all of that. So I'm putting myself in that position, knowing the arrows are going to come, and like that's how it should be. Let's see. So I
Fabulous.
think
Well,
that is going to be the most outrageous thing I do this year. Yes.
breathe through, Ara. That's what I say. When the arrows
Breathe
come,
out, breathe out. Yes.
breathe out, even better. That's right.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, I'm going to do more breathing out. I'm going to do more dancing.
Yeah.
And you inspired me.
Little bit of risk. Little bit of risk with the
A
dancing.
little bit of risk, for sure. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Well, we
Oh
should
my God.
really do this again once the book is out, because then we have a
Yes.
lot more to
Yes.
talk about.
I love to. I love to. Yes. Yes. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Ara.
All right. Okay. Bye.
Bye for now.